You survived the dealership. You successfully navigated the high-pressure finance office, you avoided the yo-yo scam, and you managed to drive your brand new $80,000 truck off the lot. For the first 3 years, everything is perfect. The truck smells new. The massive touchscreens glow beautifully. The ride is as smooth as a luxury sedan. And more importantly, you are covered by the factory warranty. If a sensor beeps, you drop it off at the dealer and drink their free coffee while they fix it. But the automakers know exactly what they are doing. They are simply waiting you out. Because the exact moment that factory warranty expires, the invisible timer starts ticking. And you are about to discover the darkest, most expensive secret in the modern automotive industry. Today, we are going to expose the hidden costs of modern truck maintenance. We are going to look at how Detroit and Silicon Valley fundamentally changed the way vehicles are engineered, not to make them last longer, but to turn your driveway into a permanent revenue stream. Let's start with the biggest lie written in your owner's manual, the myth of lifetime fluid. If you look at the maintenance schedule for a classic truck, the instructions were simple and honest. Every 30,000 miles, you drain the transmission fluid, you change the filter, and you put fresh fluid in. If you did that, a heavy-duty cast iron transmission could easily outlast the owner. But look at the manual for a modern luxury truck today. For the transmission and the differentials, it proudly states that they are filled with lifetime fluid. They tell you that the system is sealed from the factory and you never have to service it. To the average commuter, this sounds like a massive convenience. But to any honest mechanic, it is a death sentence for the machine. There is no such thing as a fluid that defies the laws of physics. Friction creates heat. Heat breaks down oil. Metal gears shear microscopic shavings into that fluid over time. When you seal a transmission and tell the owner never to change the oil, you are not performing an engineering miracle. You are guaranteeing a catastrophic failure. And that is exactly the point. The automakers don't define lifetime as the natural life of the truck. They define lifetime as the exact length of the factory warranty. They want that sealed transmission to hold together for exactly 100,000 miles. And at 105,000 miles, when that degraded fluid finally causes the gears to grenade themselves, it is no longer their problem. It is yours. And because the system was sealed, you can't just rebuild it. You have to buy an entirely new transmission from the dealership for $8,000. But the financial bleeding doesn't stop at sealed components. We have to talk about how modern trucks are physically put together. Let's talk about the cab-off extortion. 30 years ago, if a water pump failed, or a turbocharger needed work on an OBS Ford or a square body Chevy, a mechanic popped the hood. There was so much physical room in the engine bay that you could reach right in, unbolt the broken part, and swap it out. The part cost $100, and the labor took 2 hours. Today, the auto industry has packed so much luxury equipment, emissions technology, and fragile wiring into the front end of the truck that the engine is practically buried alive. If an exhaust manifold cracks or a rear sensor goes bad on a modern diesel, the mechanic cannot reach it. The only way to access the engine is to unbolt the entire cab of the truck, attach it to a hydraulic lift, and physically raise the entire body of the vehicle off the frame. I want you to really think about the math on that. A plastic sensor that costs $85 goes bad. But to replace it, a dealership technician has to spend 10 hours disconnecting the steering column, the electrical harness, the brake lines, and the body mounts, just to lift the cabin into the air. You are no longer paying for parts. You are paying $180 an hour in labor just to gain access to the part. A minor $80 repair instantly mutates into a $3,000 invoice. And you cannot escape this by taking it to the trusted, independent mechanic down the street. Because the modern automaker has completely destroyed the concept of component replacement. In the golden era of the working truck, If an alternator stopped charging, you took it apart, replaced the internal brushes for $5, and put it back together. If a gear chipped, you replaced the gear. You repaired the machine. Modern dealerships do not repair machines, they replace modules. Everything in your new truck is part of an integrated electronic assembly. If the volume knob on your dashboard stops working, they don't replace the $3 plastic knob. They force you to buy the entire 12-inch infotainment center for $2,500. If a single LED bulb burns out in your headlight, you cannot just buy a $5 glass bulb. The headlight is a sealed, computer-controlled radar adaptive unit. You have to replace the entire housing for $1,500. They have systematically removed your ability to fix the small things, forcing you to constantly buy massive, overpriced assemblies directly from their parts department. And that brings us to the ultimate psychological toll of owning a modern truck. The auto industry has successfully trained an entire generation of men to be absolutely terrified of their own vehicles. When a yellow warning light pops up on the dashboard of an $80,000 truck, your heart skips a beat. You don't know if it's a loose gas cap or a transmission module failure that is about to cost you $5,000. You are driving a vehicle that holds you in a constant state of financial suspense. Now, look at the guy driving the faded $5,000 classic workhorse. When his truck makes a weird noise, he doesn't panic. He rolls the window down, listens to it, and knows exactly what is wrong. He knows that whatever it is, he can fix it in his driveway on a Sunday morning for the cost of a few hand tools and a trip to the local auto parts store. He doesn't have a screen telling him his lifetime fluid is fine. He has a dipstick. He doesn't have an integrated infotainment module. He has a radio. He doesn't have a monthly payment. And he absolutely does not have a dealership service manager holding his wallet hostage. The automakers want you to believe that technological complexity equals progress. But complexity is just a toll booth. Every sensor, every module, and every sealed transmission is just another way for them to extract a monthly fee from you long after the vehicle is paid off. The modern truck is not a tool. It is a highly engineered trap. And the men driving the old iron, the ones refusing to trade in their loud, rough-riding mechanical beasts, they aren't crazy. They are the only ones who have successfully escaped the system. So I want to hear from you down in the comments. What is the most outrageous, overpriced repair bill a dealership has ever tried to hand you? Have you ever been told you needed a cab off repair for a minor part? Or what was the moment you realized modern trucks were engineered to fail? Tell me your stories below. I read every single one. Make sure you subscribe and hit the bell. Because in our next video, we are going to talk about the death of the V8 engine and how the government and the automakers teamed up to force you into a turbocharged nightmare.